I want to start off with some really important thank yous. So we've been planning this summit, this inclusion summit, for a little while now, but to be honest, things started, this sort of ideas around this started back in 2018 when I was invited by Anna Kern to speak at, I think it was called a Diversity and Inclusion Summit, right? And it was an enlightening experience, let's say that. We had hundreds of advocates there, partners there, both city, nonprofit, you name it. And people were pretty vocal about, for the panel that I spoke on, which was around how Parks and Recreation in the city of Philadelphia is addressing the needs of the community. People were pretty vocal about the needs and about the fact that we weren't meeting those needs. And I came out of that, you know, so when you work in city government, how many people work in city government? Raise your hands. I will say that it is a tremendous gift when you work in city government to get used to getting beat up. And for those of you who haven't worked in city government, I would highly recommend it because it allows you to build a really, really thick skin. And if you can take the opportunity of when people are vocalizing something to you, telling you they're displeased with something, or you know, telling you their concerns and their, you know, their issues. If you can turn that into seeing that as a gift and receiving that as not a personal attack, but as an opportunity for you as a leader to learn and to engage and to move forward in the best interest of the city, that to me is a tremendous gift. There is, have you guys, anyone ever seen the show Parks and Recreation? Do you guys know that show? Do you know there's a lady on the show named Leslie Knope? And she's the head of Parks and Recreation on this TV show. And she, in one of the episodes, she's at a community meeting, and she just spent like an hour at the community meeting, and people were, you know, really angry at this meeting. And at the end of the meeting, she was interviewed, and she said, you know, when people are yelling at me, I don't think of it as yelling. I think that they're just caring very loudly. And that's exactly when I went home from this this conference. I thought, this is people who care from the very depths of their heart, very loudly. And so what we did was I started meeting with Anna and a group of friends and colleagues that she had, and we started to talk about what we at Parks and Recreation could start to do differently in terms of inclusion. And it really came from a mindset that inclusion is at the very root of what we do at Parks and Rec, right? What do? We exist at Parks and Recreation to create programs that are, and experiences that are open and welcoming to all. Not some, not a few, not if, but all, right? And so inclusion is at the very heart of what we do. And yet, I'll be the first to admit that we, at the leadership level, haven't provided you all, who are the implementers, the grassroots folks doing the work every single day in every single neighborhood of our city, we haven't provided you with the resources that you need to do the work in the best way possible. And that has changed. That has changed with the formation of a working group, a group of you all, individuals from Parks and Recreation who have been working over the past year, thanks to Bill Salvatore, who's helping to lead that group, to do some great work around training for RSIs. We trained over 200 of our summer camp RSIs this year in inclusion best practices. It is, the working group's been working on a pilot program where we're employing a few individuals with special needs to actually work for us, be a part of our workforce, and be a part of our recreation centers and work alongside our rec leaders. And the fruit of that effort, that working group, is also today in this Inclusion Summit. And I'm just so incredibly grateful and proud of the individuals who've been involved in that working group. Can they raise their hand, Parks and Rec folks who have been involved in that working group? Raise your hands, don't be shy. How about a round of applause? Thank you so much. So there's a lot of other thank yous for people to help to make today possible, but I want to first and foremost thank Anna Pern, because Anna is a tireless champion, not just for inclusion, but for people with any kind of challenge, any kind of need. Anna is the first person to stand up and say, we can do better, we have to do better. And she has been a force of nature for us at Parks and Recreation, and just a tremendous partner and friend. And I thank her so much for her leadership and her support. And there were a few other folks that we met along the way. Two more women, and isn't this incredible? Women, these powerhouse women who make great stuff happen. I want to thank a woman that Anna introduced me to, who is also an incredible advocate, a tireless advocate, but is just an extraordinary, generous person, and that is Anna Brown. Where is Anna Brown? I want to thank Anna Brown. I see her, there she is, because she, again, just a tremendous leader and a wonderful support to us. And I also want to thank Amy LeGrotte from Carousel Connections. Where's Amy? There she is. I didn't know anything about Carousel Connections before I met Amy, and what I know now is that they are just an extraordinary organization, and Amy and her family are just absolutely incredible individuals who are such amazing leaders in this work, and I thank Amy for her support. And what I love most about these three women is that they weren't afraid to work in the confines of city government, weren't put off by the idea of working within the bureaucracy that is city government. It takes a level of tenacity and fortitude to work with us, because we're not always the easiest to work with, but I thank them very much for that. I also want to thank the Eagles, because, hey, great job, Eagles. I was joking that, like, wow, like, we'll have our best turnout ever today, like in Financial Field. You guys just, like, your cars, like, automatically drove yourself here, right, after last night. I want to thank Ryan Hammond, there's Ryan, for her amazing leadership for the Eagles Autism Foundation, and everybody here at the Eagles who helped make today possible. Our trainings don't all look like this, so we're really, really grateful to you guys for your incredible support. I want to thank, I'll go quickly through the rest. I want to thank the Sixers. Also, I know Roger is here from Temple University. Thank you so much to Robert Adeshi. I want to thank the City of Philadelphia and the Mayor's Commission on People with Disabilities. I think Kurt is here as well. Excuse me. I want to thank Artreach. Thank you, Artreach, and also the Special Olympics for your great partnership here with us today. Thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of this. And I want to thank someone from Parks and Rec who has been working on this work for some time now, and that is Bill Salvatore. And I don't know where Bill found the time to help do this when he's also organizing the Unity Cup Championship game October 12th. Shameless plug. But thank you so much to Bill for his great work. So we, as I said, we after this summit, we created this great working group. We trained the RSIs. We're starting this pilot program, but there's so much more to do. As I said, Parks and Recreation, our work is meant to include all Philadelphians. We have 16% of Philadelphians who have some sort of physical or emotional or cognitive disability. 16%. That is it's an amazing figure, and really demonstrates to us that in each of our recreation centers, every single one of us are encountering folks with different kinds of needs, and how can we best address those needs? Too often we are under-resourced. What we're hoping to do at Parks and Recreation is to make today just the beginning of more trainings and more resources and more opportunities to make this work really central to everything that you guys do each and every day. For those of you who don't work for Parks and Recreation, let me brag a little bit about the recreation leaders who are in the audience today. Raise your hand if you are a recreation leader or an RSI or a caretaker. Raise your hand high. Raise them high, guys. These are the micro heroes in every single neighborhood in the city of Philadelphia. They do work God's work in the city of Philadelphia, in neighborhoods, every neighborhood of our city, and they too often go unnoticed and unthanked. And they are working every single day to make sure that young people have access to high quality programs and high quality assets and safe and clean facilities, and they do this work so often with too little, and I'm just so grateful to each and every one of them for what they do, and I'm grateful to each and every one of you for being here today. So thank you guys so much. We have a lot of work to do moving forward. We are really excited because just recently we were able to identify some funding, and we are going to hopefully be announcing very soon that we will be launching an inclusivity plan for the department. So we're going to be doing a whole plan throughout our entire department to really take a look at all of our programs to figure out how we can build out the staffing capacity and the programmatic capacity to make this exactly what it should be. So we're very excited to be able to do that in the very near future and look forward to working with all of these partners. And as many of you know, that on the physical side of things, the Rebuild Initiative, which is a $500 million investment in parks and rec centers and libraries, that is a key focus of Mayor Kenny's administration, is well underway, and Rebuild is allowing us to physically transform our facilities to make them more accessible and more relevant to the needs of the community. So between Rebuild and our inclusivity plan, we're really, really excited about the incredibly bright future for the Parks and Recreation Department. So you guys have been incredibly patient today. I don't want to take too much more time. I just want to, again, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you to everybody who was involved with us today, and I am so excited for the work moving forward. So thank you guys again.